Hey, hello everybody. How you doing? Happy Thursday. I don't know what date it is, but happy Thursday. I know it's Thursday because I'm here on Thursdays. So if you're here and you're on and you've say a little hello in the chat, so the powers that be can see that everything's working. That would be great. That would be lovely. I know that there's a few people that are in here, so just put a thumbs up or something like that, and let us know that things are actually going and working, or even backstage if you want to say hello in there, so I know that you're reading this okay and that everybody is seeing me. That would be amazing. Okay. Uh, so today's topic, right? Today's topic is something that I think we're all struggling with. We're all struggling with this topic, and that is what is holding you back, right? This can apply to things more than just voiceover, but right now, that's what we're talking about. So that's why you're here, is to talk about voiceover and what is holding you back from attaining your goals. I know that there's a lot of actors out there, singers, performers of all sorts that are tuning in right now, especially on Backstage, because you guys are all just so talented and really want to pursue your dream. So I think that especially for us creatives, we somehow get stuck in this kind of something or some things that stop us from going after what we really want, and really excelling and leaning into it. Right. So I'd really like to just kind of take you down to some of my favorites, things that I've struggled with that I think you might too, and you could let me know if that resonates with you. Okay. So if you haven't met me before, my name is Laurie. Last name is Burke. It's on the video, so I'm sure you know that. I have been in this industry, voiceover industry, as well as acting and TV hosting and everything for almost 20 years. I'm also a coach. I'm the founder of Virtual Voiceover, and so I know a little bit about starting things and trying things and being afraid of things and having just fighting myself, right, to really go after it and get things done. So I see Stephanie on here. I see Amelia. Thank you. Hello. It's so nice to see you here. All right. So we're going to dive in. Okay. So right now you're watching this. Awesome. You took one step. I just want to leave that in there right now. We're going to circle back around that. But just remember that you're here right now and you're watching this and you took a step into finding out what is holding you back. Okay, so we're going to come back to that. But the first thing that I realized that I was doing, and you might be doing too, is you create this kind of fake, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to do that. Whatever that is, wherever you want to concentrate on doing something that you is in your heart and passionate, we somehow come up with other things to do. Oh, but really I should be, organizing my closet or my drawer. Please come over and organize my closet. But, we come up with these other things rather than, oh, I can maybe work on my voices. I could maybe do some of the exercises that Laurie told me to do. I could maybe contact these agents or whatever. Somehow we do that, right? Here is what I have to say. When you come up with that and you're thinking about this to yourself, I'm too busy, stop yourself for a second and think, would you be too busy for your best friend? Would you be too busy for your parents? For your significant other, if they asked you to do something that meant a lot to them? Would you be too busy for that? No, I'm going to guess no. In fact, I know it's going to be no. So you love them. You wouldn't be too busy for them. You love yourself, right? I hope so. Or I hope you grow to. So how could you be too busy to do something that's going to make you happy? Something that, makes you feel passion and really lights you up. Right? So I want you to really think about that the next time you're like, oh, I'm so busy. And I kind of want to get to this, just do it. Now that brings me to the second one, which is you're waiting for the right time, right? You're waiting for the right time to do that. Well, maybe once I do this and once I do that and once I do that, then I'll go into this. Okay. You know what? I'm going to tell you a story that I think my dad would be okay with me telling you this. In the 70s, he did an experiment. This is when it was legal. It was one of those things for LSD, right? So it was like one of those clinical trials. He needed the money. He's an actor. Hello. So he needed the money and he went in and they were going to do it for like 2 days, right? And they're like, okay, you're going to be in this confined space for 2 days. And you're going to be taking LSD, and we're just going to be watching you, monitoring you. Okay. So he went in, he's an actor, he's a musician, he writes, he's like, I'm going to make this so great. I'm just going to be like, just full of, creativity, and I'm going to come out with this wonderful thing and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what he came out with? Now is the time. The time is now. That's it. And the reason why I love that story, he thinks it's hilarious. I think, hey, Dad, you're poignant. Like that's actually very, very point. Like that's great. So if you could remember that story, and the next time something creeps in is like, oh, I'm going to wait for the right time. Now is the time. The time is now. Okay. So hopefully I have to do that. I have to do that to myself. Like, what am I doing? Why am I waiting? You look back. Another thing is, you look back in high school, for anyone who was insecure in high school, or even after high school, whenever, and you're like, oh, I didn't want to wear that bikini, or I didn't want to, whatever it is, that was it. And you're like, what the hell? And you look back and you're like, oh my God, I was so cute. And I wasn't chubby, and I wasn't this, and I wasn't, and it's like, you don't want to be doing that, right? 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, 5 minutes from now. You don't want to do that. You don't want to live in that space to where you look back and you're like, what was I waiting for? Right. And if you started today, you would be already that much further tomorrow, the next day, 5 years, 10 years. Okay. So that's the second one. The number 3 is you compare yourself to others, right? You might get on Instagram, you get on Facebook, whatever. And hopefully you don't compare yourself to me, because God knows I'm one of you. You know what I mean? Like I got into this, later in life, actually. And I'm so glad that I did it. But let me tell you, the people that know me know I work to work, and I really love what I do, but it is, something that I work on. I work on with meditation, being happy, and fulfilled, inspired. I read a lot. I study a lot. I do a lot. It's not just like I show up and boom, everything is just, 100%. We all have things in our lives that maybe we don't put on social media, but there is a fight going on, behind the scenes maybe. And maybe we don't put it on social media, not to be inauthentic, but to, like, for me, I just want to promote good in the world. I just want to promote, happy energy, right? I don't want to talk about, whatever happened last week that might've been, really a big deal in my life or something like that. I want to really just concentrate on positive things. So just kind of remember that when you're looking at things, there's a story behind everyone, and we're all so much, like I said, together in this, especially now, but that don't compare yourself to others, because it's a completely different, it's apples and oranges. Okay. And that goes with voices too. And I've said this so many times, if you watch any of my videos, your voice is your voice. It's unique. And that's what makes it special. And that's what makes you hireable. You just have to find out how to use that voice and how to explore these different things in you, that maybe take it a little bit further, and maybe to build your confidence up too. Okay. So don't compare yourself to others. Okay. Number 4, you get stuck in, well, what if? What if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't do this? Right? We all are we're either afraid of failing, or we're afraid of succeeding. Where it's what if? If anything this year has taught us, it's we have no idea what's going to happen. Right? I mean, every day on the news there's something new. Right? Well, what if? Well, yeah. What if? And guess what? So what? What if? And so what? You'll roll with it. What if this happens? Well, you'll roll with it. I've done these lives before where, something happened, YouTube crashed, or, some sort of technical thing. What if that happens? Well, is that your worst fear? That's your worst fear. And I have a whole other mindset about fear, regarding this, but, then it happens and you're like, yeah, nobody died. It was all right. I mean, we kind of laughed about it. We started it up again. If anybody's watched any of those, it's just kind of like, even my brother's like, can we laugh about that now? And I was like, yeah, it happens. It happens. And what if? Well, what if it does? Okay. Not a big deal, right? What if you don't succeed in voiceover? And I'm not going to say succeed. What if you find out that you don't like to do it, let's say? So you do something else. You found that out, right? You learned from it, right? So don't get stuck in the what ifs. And a lot of us do this, including myself. So, all right. The next one, you get caught up in the myth of, maybe you assume that you have to be super talented. And that's what makes you, like, quote, successful. I'm just going to say successful on your terms, as opposed to persistence, right? Let me tell you something. When I was little, I heard a tape of myself when I was 5 years old, right? Okay. And I was a mess. Okay, first of all, I'm a singer as well, right? I couldn't hit a note. I couldn't hit a note if it smacked me in the face, right? I'm like, "Ooh," I was very, very had kind of like a speech thing going on. My words were not clear. I was crying. There was a reel to reel machine going on at that time. That's an age thing, right? But and I was like, it's not recording. It's not recording. It's okay. I went on to get my degree in broadcast communications. I went on to work on my voice. I went on to study voice and study singing and just bring myself some confidence. And I, am very lucky that for 20 years I've been consistently working. I mean, who gets to do that, right? I may have been born with some talent. My family is ridiculous in that talent, but I definitely, that was not it, my friends. That was not it. It was persistence. I just keep going. There's been a roadblock. I won't get into it. That's personal stuff, as you have personal stuff, you just keep going. Just keep going. Do things that make you happy, pursue this craft. I love it. And your acting and your singing and whatever creative, just keep going. Just keep doing it. I have a thing that I say every day. If I wake up and I'm creative, I'm happy. It literally just takes just that one little thing, and I'm happy. Okay. You find out what makes you happy. I'm going to guess it's probably something creative too, but just keep going. Okay. All right. The next thing is you don't take action, right? So here you are, you're watching this, which is amazing. That is one step of action. Took one little step today. That's it, right? You want to learn about voiceover. You want to know certain things. Well, learn one thing a day, right? Take a class. You know how big, if you followed me and you've listened to me before, you know how big I am about studying. That comes from not only because I'm a coach and because I have virtual voiceover, is my company, but also because for me, that changed my life. Changed my life. It made me confident. It made me knowledgeable, obviously. It made me very prepared, which also brings confidence and takes away some of the fear. And it's really changed my life. I remember going away to Europe for acting. I went to Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. I went to Berlin and Paris also. And this was just a program called European Act. And it was wonderful. It was scary as AF, but once I got there, I was like, every day I got to study acting and something new. And when I came back to the United States, I just was like, that's what I needed, right? I knew I was a decent actor. Once I started studying and really learning from the best people I could find, I came back and I was like, all right, you know what? This is as good. I know where I'm going. I have a roadmap. I have a blueprint. I know where I'm going. Okay. So, taking action and just that one little step is going to change your life. Okay. So here's the last one. Okay. You don't need to do it alone. I am such a big person about this that it's been a very big challenge for me because I'm so used to being independent and doing my own thing and getting things done and all this stuff that I don't ask for help. And I don't know if it seems like maybe we think we're weak for asking about that. Let me tell you something. In the last couple of years, though, I have absolutely changed that. I am in 2 programs right now where I study business, then I studied PR, and then I'm studying this and masterclass. I watch masterclass all the time. And then there's groups of people in there that are like me, that are like-minded like me, that I can talk to. And I've actually gotten with asking for help. Hey, listen, can you help me with this? I'm not quite sure about this little thing and you might excel in it, or even just bouncing off ideas. I know for virtual voiceover, I'm doing a boot camp in January, by the way. I should say that. Go to virtualvoiceover.com and get on the waiting list and you'll be notified. And I'm super excited because one of my goals of this is to bring people together that are exploring doing voiceover for a living as well. Okay. And because I think that's so important. We're so separated, especially in voiceover, because we're in our studios and we're kind of by ourselves. And especially now, this whole, situation that we're in right now where we're home and everything is on Zoom and video, but we have to keep that relationship going with other humans, and also about creativity and learning. And, like I said, everybody's got their something, right? We can learn so much from each other. So you don't need to do it alone. Find a safe place to do that with. Always get a coach. Come to my class. I would love that. Or sign up, for the boot camp. But you can find people that are in it just like you are, and it doesn't need to be competitive. Please don't let it be competitive. Don't do that to yourself. And that is a huge thing that I talk about a lot too, in my videos, is that you know somebody's doing it, might as well be you. And you are completely different than the other person. Our voices are like snowflakes, they're every single one is different. And every single way that we read things are different. We interpret things. The way that we tell stories are different. The way that we act, right? And in acting, if you're on camera, is different. The way you host, the way that you present. You have a lot of influences that you study, and you have got maybe people that you admire that you can model after. But you're still going to be you, right? And that's the beauty of it. And that's really the beauty of being successful in voiceover. So I hope that that these helped. I've got many, many more, because God knows we come up with like a million excuses not to do something, right? And a million things. Again, what was my first thing that I was talking about being too busy, right? I just think it's so funny. It's like, now we don't really have that excuse as much when you're home all the time. Somehow we find things to do, but we used to go, oh, I'm just too busy to do this. That's like, are you really? Because right now we're home. You know what I mean? So there's that. So I hope that this helped a little bit. And I do hope, please, if you like this, come to my boot camp. We're going to do more and more about this. And then also the actual art of being a voiceover artist and tools that you could use and actually learning how to do it. So anyway, let me see if I can take some questions. If there's any questions down there, and I'm sorry, my monitor is down here. So I'm just going to look at, like I don't have the equipment. Right. Exactly. Like you don't have the equipment. Sindoro. I don't know if that's saying that right, but you are absolutely right. Okay, I have done many videos on this, and I could teach you in this. I talk about this all the time. You don't need to start out with tons of equipment or really expensive things to learn how to be a voiceover artist. Do you have your voice? Can you talk? Okay, right? Okay, so you can read and you can talk, right? Okay, then you can learn how to do it. Everything else can come in stages. Believe me, I have many different versions of being a voiceover artist over the years, many different booths. I've built so many booths, and I say that a lot, and I even have some of them still around, and they're really, and I'm going to show people them, it's really funny. You can start where you're at. Don't look at it like it's such a big undertaking. Just take one little step, and you'll do fine. Anything else? How do I stop the excuses? Well, I'm telling you right now. I am stopping you right now. Stop making those excuses, right? And really, I think also leaning into, why are you making those excuses? Maybe have a real, come to Jesus moment with yourself and say, what is it that I'm afraid of? Like, what is it? Is it of being judged? Right? Is it of being judged? Probably. That's some of it. Well, first of all, you're not being judged. Secondly, if you're because only people that are mean to other people. Only people that are unhappy are mean to other people. Only people that are insecure about whatever it is that you're doing, or maybe they're jealous, they're the ones that are not supportive. So don't be afraid of that judgment, okay? And if you're in a safe place and you're learning it, well, you're learning it. We all had to learn how to eat with a fork, right? I hope we all eat with a fork. We all had to learn how to walk. We had to learn how to talk. We had to learn everything. I don't know why everybody, that's another one, is that people think it's going to be instant. Well, it's not. You have to learn these things, right? And again, I love learning. So I am constantly, masterclass, all that stuff. That's my favorite show. Okay. I use a blanket fort as my booth. Good for you. Perfect. Right? I am the queen of that. I'm the queen of being somewhere. It's like the MacGyver of a vocal booth, right? I'm like, okay, I think I could do this there, da da da. So I like it. Keep going. And a USB mic a good start for voiceover work. That's what you're asking me. To start out, if you're just starting out and you're just learning and maybe you're going to audition, yes, that's okay. I have other videos on mics. I have one on my YouTube channel that is on microphones. I do think as a professional, you don't have a USB mic. However, that being said, you're starting from somewhere. You're going to get used to your voice. You're going to get used to your voice on a mic, so that is absolutely fine. And especially if you're auditioning for things on Backstage and things like that. So, okay, let me see if I can get a few from above. Good stuff. Is there any good books to study during voiceover work? If you're into reading books, now that's a great question though. Kind of realize how you're best at learning. For me, I buy a million books, I get halfway through, and then, right? I'm better on video. I'm better on video. Maybe listening to it too, but I'm much better. So that's why all my classes are live. So because I believe that connection, and you could ask people questions live and get so much out of it, is the way that I retain better. If you are a book person, God, there's so many books. At one point, I will write a book. I haven't yet, but for reading material, there's so much on the internet that you could look at. You know what I mean? I would say too, you could put things together, but maybe go for one person's approach. That's another thing that I found in my own learning, right? Is like, oh, this person's telling me to do this way and that way. Everybody's got a different way. Find one and stick with it, and you'll be okay. Then you just have a clear cut thing. It's one thing. You don't get all cluttered, for things like that. So, okay. Do you do your own demo or get help? And what if you are starting with nothing? Where do you go to get going? Edwin, that's a great question. Thank you. Okay. So I really talk about not doing your own demo, right? Because even I like to go into a studio and have a studio engineer doing that. During this last year, I have kind of reassessed a little bit more. Again, what I teach is virtual voiceover, because I've been doing this virtually and having my home studios for almost 20 years since I started. Google Voice, I was doing from my home studio, right? Things for TV stations I was doing from my home studio. So I have been doing this way before we had to stay in, right? And I can say this, now that there's so many new pieces of technology, if you are very, very tech savvy and you know what you're doing, so I do suggest that you study first so that you know what should go on your demo, how it should sound, all this stuff. I mean, you have to be super, super techie, because your demo is your calling card. It is the absolute most important thing for you. Then you can make your own. And I am going to have some of that of how to make your own demo. But again, those are for people that are really, really, really know what they're doing, and they've already studied. If you're going to do it now, and I've heard demos of people that haven't studied and they just made their own, and it is not good. But nobody's, I just, you're not going to probably get the attention that you want. I know that for me, I invested in my demo, and it wasn't cheap. I invested in myself. When I first started, I don't think I told this story before, but I was in sales, and I was very unhappy. I was unfulfilled, and with what I was doing. And there's more to this story. I went to a doctor. I was like having all these pains. Needless to say, my body was telling me, you are not happy. This is not what you want to do with your life. You're not even like helping the world. So I quit. I became, I went and I volunteered for a while, and then I bought my first Mac. It was a G4. If anybody knows you Macs out there, you know how old that is. I bought all the microphones. I invested in myself. I studied voiceover, and I paid for a demo. That was quite a bit of money. The G4 was quite a bit of money, but I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to invest in this, and I'm going to invest in myself, and that's it. And I've never looked back. And let me tell you, that has obviously paid off, thousandfold. So my suggestion to this about making your own demo is take the step first to learn what you're doing, how to do it. See then where you are, and if you want to invest in somebody else making the demo, or if you actually could make a really good demo on your own, or maybe you can do half. Maybe somebody can do the background for you and all this stuff. I was directed. I had a great teacher. She went over when I was in the studio making my demos, and that got me Google Voice. It got me, Channel 36. It got me a lot of stuff. So that's my advice. I hope that helps you a little bit. People who are not going to college. Oh yeah. Do I have any advice for people who are not going to college for acting? It doesn't matter. I didn't go to college for acting. My degree's in broadcast communications. and I'm an actress, you know. I went to these programs instead. I learned better. Figure out how you learn better. Again, going back to the book thing and the video thing, figure out how you learn best and do that. For me, it's kind of intensives, right? A month or two here, a month here, 2 months here. I mean, we're always learning, and you could expand on it. But for me, that is what really helped. When I went away to go, when I got accepted into the program for acting, that was what, 2 or 3 months in Europe. Okay. And programs that you give, you just want to get all the information. Maybe you work better getting all the information than working on your own pace. For me, I work better live. I work better interactive. And so intensives are better for me. So don't worry about, or if you didn't go to college, it's talent and persistence, right? More persistence probably than talent. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's very true. Let's see. Yes. Is a module reel good for voiceover reels or a demo reel? A module reel. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Maybe you can drop that in the chat. Take acting lessons on. Okay. Yeah. You could take acting lessons on Zoom. That's exactly it. Right now. Oh my God. There's so many possibilities for you to learn right now. Right. Even little courses here and there. Right. So I think that's great. Let's see. How do you keep your voice strong and from going hoarse? Summer, such a great question. I did a video on your voice and vocal health, right? I am huge on vocal health. And I suggest that you look at that, because if your voice is going hoarse, and I'll tell this story too. I've told it before, but I'll tell it again. I was singing at night. Right? Late at night, out at clubs. During the day, I was Common Sense Media. I was a TV host. So I was talking and that I was doing voiceover auditions. I was doing acting auditions. I was tap dancing. No, I was kidding. I was doing all these things, right? So I was on camera talking. I was doing voiceover recording. Ooh, bless that person. And I was singing at night, right? And then my voice would get hoarse. And at one point I lost it. And that was the wake up call for me. So if you're going to take this seriously, you have to take your vocal health very seriously. That means no loud clubs, no loud bars. People that know me, my friends know, I'll say I can't really be here. I've got some tricks and tips about saving your voice. But the number one thing is, don't exert it so much. Don't be loud. Don't be in loud places to where you feel like you need to, use it. If you are talking consistently and getting hoarse, that is something for speech therapy. And that's something that shouldn't be happening. If it's something that you notice sometimes you're hoarse and sometimes you're not, it could be a pitching thing where you're placing it. There's a lot of different things in vocal health. But the number one thing is you can also take days off, right? If you're speaking a lot like I do, I used to take Sundays off. I used to take Sundays off, which was really fun. Actually, you could walk around and just kind of go, people know what you're saying. It's fine. And it's kind of quiet. I don't know. It's kind of nice. You're just kind of in your own world, right? So I hope that helps. I sold myself to corporate America and realized it was the most unfulfilling. Yes. Same here. Yes. That's what I did. And I'll tell you even more. I went to the doctor and I was, it was like 20 years ago. Right. And he's like, how's everything, in corporate America, how's everything going? And I was like, oh, I'm fine. And a tear came down my cheek. And he said, I don't want to tell you what to do, but your job's not worth it. Right? What's worth it to you? Right now, I think we're reassessing everything. Okay. We're reassessing everything, right? And how we want to spend our time in the world and how we want to, what we want to do with our lives. Right. And my feeling is if you have this creative thing in you and you want to fulfill your potential, then man, isn't now the time to study that, get out and share with the world? I think so. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to take just one more. Do you think it's good to have an agent on both coasts? I'm doing something with Los Angeles, but I notice many have multiple agents and some VO managers. Mitch, that's a great question too. Okay. Do I think it's good? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't I? If you have agents in different places, that's different, different work usually. Now, the thing about voiceover though, that you should know is that you should only audition for one, right? If you get the same voiceover, because that's happened to me, right? You've got the same voiceover audition. So you don't really want to submit on both ends. You want to be kind of go with one if you get the same audition. Because a lot of these, like the bigger voiceover um, announcements or auditions that come out, they go to everybody. And so, then the people that get it, the agencies are going, oh, here's that same guy with the same audition. You don't really want to do that. So you could talk to your agent about that too. They're going to say, let me do it. Because of course you need to give credit where credit's due. Okay. So that's the only thing about that I would say is to watch out for. Okay. But as long as it's cool and it's not in your contract, we have contracts sometimes that say, you can't do it within, whatever, 100 miles or 200 miles or whatever. But if they're separate coasts, absolutely get the work. Get the work. So let's see. I'll take one more. Okay. I'm going to take one more because I got to go. Let's see. Same here. Still wearing this job. I've never seen so many tears come down. Oh, we'll put it on a fake smile. Oh my God. Be you. Right? Can you feel me? I know that's like it. If anybody has one more question, well, I'm gonna go back because I think I missed a few people in here. Do you build your own booth? Voiceover Jedi. Thank you. You know what? One of my students called me the Yoda of voiceover. I thought that was so funny. But I love Voiceover Jedi. I love that. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with a name. If anybody has a name, drop it in the chat. I'd love to know. Because we're always trying to kind of position ourselves of like what will be the most genuine and authentic thing that you do, title. But anyway, so thank you. So yeah, your question, build your own booth. Yes. Everybody here that's watching this, you could build your own booth. 100%. 100%. And I show you how. I'm going to do that in the boot camp. And then more in the, more and more in depth as the days go on. So your booth can be, it's a very simple idea. And once you get the idea of what you need in a booth, it's like that. And you can do it with anything, right? Like I think somebody, you said on here that Sindoro, I'm going to say your name wrong again, that you used blankets, right? Yeah. I mean, I've been in places, I've done it in cars, I've been in places where I'm like, oh my God, I got to get this in. This is like an emergency voiceover. I think it's funny. Emergency voiceover. And I got to find a place to record. And as long as you get the whole concept of it and the key things that you need, then you can really do it from anywhere. And I travel and I've done it. Well, I used to travel. I will travel again from anywhere. Right. So it's a great vocation in that way. So I hope that that this is helpful. I just saw one more question and I don't want to leave you guys yet. So King Memo, what should be the first thing to do when starting your voice acting career? Okay. So this will be the final question. You know what I'm going to say. People that know me know what I'm going to say. Study. That's the first thing you should do. Study and see if this is something you want to do. Right? People have a lot of misconceptions about what doing voiceover is, voice acting, any term that you want to use. People don't know until you start doing it and what it's like. So I say take a class, take a course, read, try doing it. I'm sure if you're auditioning for here and see if you really like it and if you want to do it. Okay. So I know it seems like I'm plugging my virtual voiceover boot camp, but I'm really excited about it because I've been working on it for so long because people kept writing me going, where can I study with you? Whatever. And I was like, you know what? I think a boot camp would be great. It's going to be like, just not a lot of days and it will give a lot of information. And I get to have these kind of conversations with people more on a one-to-one, and there'll be other people in there that you can connect with. So that's virtualvoiceover.com. And get on the waiting list. And what else was I going to say? I was going to say, I hope you have a very beautiful and creative day. And I really applaud you for your interest in voiceover and for taking this step just to watch this video. Okay. So you're already ahead of the game as far as, what's stopping you. Well, you've already taken this step and you want to learn more. Okay. So with that, I'm going to sign off and I hope to see you again soon. Okay. Bye.